Earlier in the week, President Obama finally, it seemed, addressed the issues at stake in this NSA scandal at length in a lengthy interview with Charlie Rose. Now, I think that it's important to know that there are essentially three components of the public debate that occurred this week and has been ongoing surrounding the NSA leak. The first one is, of course, the legality and constitutionality of these kinds of surveillance measures, these massive, non-discriminating metadata collections, either through phone records or on the internet. And the second thing is the extent to which these things improve our security, our national security, and are essential to foiling terrorist plots. And the third question is, of course, whether our elected leaders are acting in good faith and can be trusted to manage these affairs. And I'll take these one by one. First off, the president in his interview with Charlie Rose attempted to explain exactly the legal justification for these programs, and he noted that the massive collection of phone records for more than half of all Americans by the National Security Agency is justified by Section 215 of the Patriot Act, laws that Congress passed. But he said it's important to note that if someone wants to query some of this metadata, some of these phone records, then they still need a warrant, though those phone records are all available in the database. Here's how he put it.
Point number one, if you're a U.S. person, then NSA is not listening to your phone calls, and it's not targeting your emails unless it's getting an individualized court order.
Now, of course, the president pointed out that the government, in theory, perhaps does have the technical power to listen to your phone calls without a warrant, or to in fact query that metadata without a specific warrant, but to do so would be illegal.
It is transparent. That's why we set up the FISA court.
Of course, he was pointing out that all of these court orders, that none of this metadata can be summoned without a specific court order for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act courts, these secret courts that provide our intelligence agencies with the legal authority that they need. Now, of course, he was pointing out it is transparent. That's why we have the FISA court. But the FISA courts are completely non-transparent. We have no idea exactly how they work. And of course, they're not subject to the normal scrutiny that a traditional judicial court would be subject to. The president did point out to Charlie Rose that he is taking actions to make these systems more transparent. He specifically said that he would like to declassify the ways in which these decisions are made in order for more Americans to have confidence that these FISA courts are operating in good faith with the best interests of Americans at heart. Here's how he put it.
What I've asked the intelligence community to do is see how much of this we can declassify without further compromising the program, number one.
And of course, he also said that he would appoint a civilian board to oversee the civil liberties aspects of this to make sure that the government was in compliance with that.
Number two, I've stood up a privacy and civil liberties oversight board made up of independent citizens, including some fierce civil libertarians.
Now, in a Q&A conducted through The Guardian earlier this week, Edward Snowden made the point that just because there are policies in place that prevent some of these abuses of power, it does not mean that these abuses of power are not extremely possible and extremely liable to occur, because technically they are possible, and anyone, particularly a systems administrator, and many of these people that have security clearance, could access this metadata so long as they've access to that database. Just because there is a policy against them, it does not mean that there's an enforcement mechanism against it.